How you doing, folks? This is a short instruction on how to change the PCV valve on a 2019 Kia Sorento 3.3 liter. The it's burning oil. The engine's burning oil. It's consuming like a quart of oil a week or so, and we're thinking it's the PCV valve because that a bad PCV valve can allow the engine to. I don't fully understand how it works. I'm not a mechanic or anything, but um, the PCV valve, that stands for positive crankcase ventilation valve. Basically, you can Google what it does. Basically, allows your engine to pass gas. So you can look it up if you're interested. Most of the time, they're fairly easy to find and replace, but on this engine, it's a little bit more difficult. It's back in the corner here of the engine, so you have to remove a bunch of this air inlet hardware in order to reach it. It's not too bad, but it's a little more involved than the average PCV valve. Um, the tools you're going to need here are the basic tools. Basically, a flathead screwdriver, a couple different sizes. I grabbed the Phillips screwdriver, um, a ratchet, 6-inch extension or longer, uh, a 14 millimeter deep well socket, and then a 10 millimeter regular socket or a deep well, it doesn't matter. And then also not shown here, you'll need a 12 millimeter socket as well, and needle nose pliers of some sort. Here are a couple tools that I used, but you don't really need, but it made the job a little easier. Some real long nose pliers. You can get these at Harbor Freight or wherever. They make certain things a lot easier. A really long extension, 3/8 inch drive extension, and then a small 1/4 inch drive, 10 millimeter, and then of course an impact for zip when you're on taking things apart. It comes apart a lot faster with an impact. Again, you don't need these, but it does make the job easier. So to start off, you need to remove this cover off of the engine. This is just pops right off of there. The cover is held on by these little grommets, little posts sticking out of the engine, and it goes into these little hole grommets, little rubber feet here. So it just pops off, and you can put that off to the side. Next step is to start removing this air intake hardware here. This is the big box where the air filter is located. There's a couple nuts to loosen, and then a couple of these little hoses. You just loosen the hose clamp and then pull the hose off of there. The air filter itself is behind this door. You just pull this open and you can pull the air filter itself. It's probably useful to get that out of the way. Next, you're going to want to remove this. I don't know what you call it, but the air intake thing. It's the port that allows air from the front of the engine into your engine. So it's held on by a couple of these little push clips. One of mine's actually missing. You can see there, but it just sort of pops off of there. It's pretty easy to take apart. After that, you're going to want to be able to move this battery around to allow you to get that air box out. So you want to remove the battery clip. This is a battery retaining clip here. It's held on with this 12 millimeter bolt. So you got to reach down in there and loosen that. You can pull this clip off of there, and that'll allow you to remove or not remove the battery, just move it out of the way, push it out of the way. If it's easier, feel free to disconnect it completely and remove it. The next step are these two 10 millimeter bolts here down. This is the air box there that these two bolts hold it on, and then in the back is sort of another little post that just clamps into something. So you just got to remove these two bolts, and then you should be able to pull that whole assembly out, um, and end up with this. That whole air intake area comes right out. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The next step is you're going to want to remove this throttle body here. That'll give you a lot better access to the PCV valve. There are 4 bolts. You can see 3 of them in this picture, and there is a 4th sort of tucked up underneath there that you can get to. When you pull those out, just pull the throttle body out and just let it hang down. You don't have to disconnect it from all the cables or anything. And then that will expose your PCV valve. It's tucked up under here like this. You can see there's like a foam, I guess it's a heat protector or heat shield or something. So you pull that hose clamp back, you pull the hose off, then you pull this little foam heat shield out of there. I'm guessing it's heat shield anyway. So once you pull that out, then your PCV valve is exposed, and you use the 14 millimeter deep well socket to pull it out. This is showing you the old one next to the new one. I have no idea how to tell by looking at it or shaking it. The new one, when you shake it, whatever's inside there moves a lot freer than the old one, but it still moves a little bit. So hopefully, again, this is going to take care of our oil consumption problem on this 2019 Kia. One note: when you're putting things back together, and by the way, you just reverse everything you just did to get it back together. But when you're putting it back together, these 4 bolts here holding the throttle body on, they're pretty small. So when you're snugging them down, don't over tighten them. You don't want to accidentally break one of them. That's what I use the 1/4 inch drive for. And there you have it. Just reverse everything you just did, and you should be back up and running. I hope this helps someone. In the meantime, I will check back in a week or two to make a comment on whether or not this actually helped our oil consumption. Take care, folks. Thanks. Bye.